Hello class, and welcome to this Adventure Island NES walkthrough right here on Video Games 101 by way of Let's Play with Briggins. I'm your instructor, Professor Briggins. Great to have you along for another one of Nintendo's hardest. You just see that title right there, the developer, I should say, Hudson Soft. You know you're in for a difficult time. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. I'm going to give Adventure Island a 9 out of 10, which equates on the frustration scale to rolling around on the floor, writhing, screaming out expletives, chanting, cursing in tongues, you name it. You're going to be doing it. 8-3 is going to make you reevaluate your life, but hopefully this walkthrough will help offset a lot of the pain which comes with this very, very challenging platformer. So it's a long one, so let's get into it right now and run the intro and start Adventure Island. Alright, as we get into Adventure Island here, please consider subscribing if you have not yet done so. We do one of these classes every single week, giving you the keys to tackle the hardest of the hard classic games out there, and this is certainly one of them. As we take a look at the controls for Adventure Island, pretty basic, but it's worth noting that you can hold down B to run. It's important considering how slowly Higgins moves, but we'll talk about that more in a minute. For now, look at the items with Blaze.
Alright, let's talk about some of the items in Adventure Island. These are the basic weapons for the most part. First off, we have the stone axe. It's better than nothing. It destroys most enemies, but you gotta be careful. It doesn't destroy boulders, and if you hit boulders or rocks, anything on the ground, the snake doesn't like it for some reason. Very testy, that snake shoots out fire at you, so be aware of that. A much better solution is to get the fireballs, which is the upgrade after the stone mallet. Pick that up. You can break fire for some reason to destroy all the boulders and rocks that come in your way. This is great for getting around a lot of obstacles. Definitely the way to go. And last, we have the skateboard. Inexplicably, a skateboard in the game, though. If you listen to Fluff Talk, it kind of makes some sense. But this moves you forward without stopping. It earns you a free hit, that's the only upside, but in a game like this with tons of pits, you don't want to be able to not stop. Does that make sense? Just avoid it.
Just avoid them. Simple enough advice. Thank you very much, Blaze. And I just want to highlight one item in particular that you need to pick up. Do not miss this item at the edge of this cliff right here. For more information on this and a few others, here's Blaze again.
Alright, the final items in Adventure Island. First, we have the key. If you could find one of these, it makes a platform which would normally drop, take you to a bonus area. We have the Hudson B, a staple in Hudson Soft games. In this case, item of the game. It lets you continue. Just hold start and press a direction on the title screen, or better said, push a direction. Hold the direction and press start to restart on the level that you just died on. We have the trophy. If you can find it, it's hidden in most levels. It doubles your points you've earned at the end of the level. And lastly, the Famicom controller earns you 1,000 points. Get one of these by hitting one of the coyotes that runs past in the back. Not in the front, in the back.
Thank you, Blaze. It seems like a bit of an underhanded move, hitting one of those coyotes in the back, but you know what? This game doesn't pull any punches. So why should Master Higgins, our main character? Speaking of Master Higgins, we showed the controls earlier, but I really do recommend always holding down B. Higgins moves like an old man moving around in a bathtub for the most part. It's a little unwieldy, so give yourself a little extra speed by holding down B. And speaking of tips for this game, the keys, let's take a look at the Briggs notes. First, get that egg. Blaze talked about how important it was. Do not expect to beat this game on one continue alone. You'll be, I admire your confidence, but just don't count on it. So definitely have that as the hedge your bets technique right there and pick up that B. Secondly, always be firing. Good rule of thumb, especially if you have the flames. You don't have to worry about any snakes firing back flames at you when you're just always firing with the fireballs. You can clear out all the stones that are in your path, any enemies that might pop out. Just a good idea. Always be tapping that B button. And finally, it may seem a bit counterproductive in a game in which you were constantly hemorrhaging, I don't know, hunger points. Certainly not health points when one hit kills you. But the game is designed to kind of rush you along with this mechanic of always having to eat and sate Higgins' never-ending bottomless pit of, I don't know, it's an eating disorder. Let's call it what it is. But we're not here to discuss that or get serious about anything right now. He should get some help, but we're just telling you how to beat this game right now. But you'll find even when you take your time, go to slower pace, you can anticipate enemies coming out. Gives you more time to react when you see them on the screen. And there will still be plenty of food if you go at kind of a moderate pace, as you'll see. But here with one last look, you can ride that up for another bonus stage, not a big deal, but at some items, here's Blaze.
All right, let's talk about some more of the items in Adventure Island. A lot of the good things, some bad things you'll pick up. First, we have milk and strawberry milk, I don't know. But either way, one of these containers will pretty much max out your vitality completely. Then you have the flowers, which doubles the point value of the fruits which you eat. You have temporary invincibility from the fairy. Watch out, every fairy has a flip side. That is the eggplant. Slowly depletes your vitality, makes you insanely hungry for some reason. No love for the eggplants, I'm noticing, but just avoid them in this game. 2,000 points you get from the ring. You collect 3 of these. Your next one is going to be a 1-up. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yep, avoid those eggplants. I find them quite delicious in my personal everyday life, but in this case, for whatever reason, they're conditioning kids to hate vegetables. Eat lots of fruit, but not so much with the vegetables. It's weird. I don't know, maybe they're lobbied heavily by the Fruit Council, and I don't know, didn't get their donation over at Hudson Soft from the vegetable people. I don't know. Again, it's not the point of this class. So if we can take down that coyote, we'll see that Famicom controller, and we get 1,000 points. Another reason to always be firing, like we talked about in the opening, is, or in the Briggs notes, I should say, is that you can uncover all the hidden eggs. Generally, these are always good things. Always some sort of... Most of the time, it's just going to be like a ring and eventually a 1-up, or just some milk, something to top off your health. But, yeah. As we fight our way through this final woods level. The levels in this game are broken into kind of groups of 4, and there's 8 groups, so 32 levels if you want me to do the math for you. Generally, these are the easiest levels, though. There's no pits. It's probably why they're the easiest, and if you have a weapon, you're in good shape. But we got the first boss, Gary.
It's Scary Gary's Boss Beaters. I'm surprised they even brought me in for this, but you know what? The Witch Doctor, I can take them all out with 1 or 2 tips here. They're not hard, the bosses here in Adventure Island. They're all exactly the same. They just take a few more hits every time, but their patterns are always the same. Just jump and toss your weapon at the head level of the boss. Stay between the arc of the projectiles and the body of the boss to stay safe. Don't get too close, don't get too far. Just rinse and repeat, and you'll take him down. And just for a bit of fun, see if you can make that sweet jump at the end without needing the lift.
That is a bit of fun. I always like to try to nail that. Thank you very much, Gary. Yeah, the bosses, considering how difficult everything else in this game is, the bosses are probably very much the easiest part of the game, so you can breathe a sigh of relief once you get to the end of the level boss. Not usually the case in these games, but certainly in Adventure Island. All the difficulty comes from the platforming aspect as we find another hidden egg. Get another one of those rings. Get enough of those, and again, we'll get that extra life. Getting a lot of jewelry for our, Oh, by the way, we're trying to rescue our girlfriend. I just realized. Let's put that trope list up again. There you go. Went a couple weeks without having to use the trope list, but it's back again. Can't shake it for too long, but, yeah, plenty of jewelry for her once we finally rescue her. Assume that's what we're doing with all these rings, I don't know. We have a lot of points at the end of all this, after all the monsters we beat. Vegetables, or... Sorry, the fruits we pick up, mostly fruits. Another hidden egg right here, it looks like. There we go. First extra life. After that third ring, is one of the last trophies that we'll see where it's just right there in front of us. They hide a lot of them. Most of the hidden trophies you can find by kind of running into the rocks, which you'll find on the screen. When I have the flames and I'm always firing, I generally destroy most of the rocks, but if you want to look for the trophies, we're not going to be telling you where to find them. That's a bit overkill. And a lot of times trying to get the trophies is dangerous, and this game is dangerous enough without it, so. Really important in these ocean levels that we hold down B to get the extra high jump. That's another point. Another reason to use the turbo, if you will, holding down B. We can get a little extra height from our jumps. And we need those when we're going up the cloud elevators. But it's just points anyway, that trophy. Not essential by any means. Get a few extra points from those flowers. I never knew that about the flower. After years and years and years of playing this game. But I guess the real key, and I'm not going to like group this in with the Briggs notes for this game, but you're seeing it right here. The key to this game is just keeping your weapon, basically. Keeping the flames. Because it really is a tale of two games. I'm not going to go so far as to say like with other games, like, what was it, Contra, I think, where with the spreader we gave it another trophy that's easy to get. Again, there won't be too many more of those, but yeah, with the difficulty I gave Contra, without the spreader, something like an 8, but if you had the spreader, I knocked it down to something like a 4. In this game, it's kind of a similar tale, but this game would still be incredibly difficult with or without a weapon. It's just, it becomes a lot more manageable, I think is the best word for it, when you have a weapon, and that weapon being the one that takes down stones, for whatever reason. I don't know the science behind it. Flames melting the stones? I don't know. Something about igneous rocks? I don't know. But there's our strawberry milk. These frogs that jump at you, there's a few ways to deal with them. Sometimes they just take 2 hits. You can take them down from a distance. If you get a bit too close, they'll just keep jumping at you, and then it can be kind of difficult unless you're moving at them with full speed to avoid them. If you just run straight at them, they'll jump right over your head. You'll see this on a lot of the forest levels, the final level in each group of levels, but yeah, it's easy to get kind of off of your rhythm when it comes to the frogs, and if you get a little bit too close and your rhythm is off, then they can be a formidable foe. And it's always tricky when your character can't take any damage before they die. It's sort of that Mario logic, but at least in Mario they gave you the, there's another key, we can ride one of these elevators. At least in Mario they gave you the mushroom, so you could take a hit if you found that. I don't really count the skateboard here because it's such a liability, as Blaze kind of talked about. We got another hidden area here with another fruit salad bar. Just go nuts, Higgins. Scurvy certainly won't be a problem for him. I don't know about all of that. I know it's natural sugar, but it's still a lot. He's eating a lot in this game. Out of necessity, certainly beats the alternative. Because we know what happens if he doesn't eat. You also notice that every level is broken down by markers. Gotta be careful on these. Every now and then one of these will, break away. So just kind of get close enough, tease them out. If you come up slow on the frogs, you can kind of like, if you know how they're gonna jump, not one of those trophies, I'm just not gonna risk it. Stick with our rhythm that we got rocking here. Yeah, if you know how to anticipate just the distance and the height the frog is going to jump, then you can position yourself accordingly. But it's just something to keep in mind, as we say, as we're here on the forest level of the second group of levels. I will say, if you don't have a weapon, just like everything else in this game, these levels are a lot harder because they don't always give you, in a lot of the levels they give you at least the starting stone axe type weapon very early on after you die. In these levels, it's kind of agonizingly long the way that they give you. So we have a couple of these coyotes here. I always call them coyotes. I don't know what you want to call these guys, but no Famicom controller for us. Here's the frogs. We could just run straight at them. They add one every time you hit one of these forest levels. So it'll just be a long line of them eventually. Slightly different colored flower, but still. Another one of these. They just jump when that's the case. If you don't want to mess with them, you can just stare them down. Put 2 fireballs or stone axes in them to put them down quickly. Or you can just jump over them like that. It's nice that they kind of slow down when you get that one hit on them. That gives you time to catch up to them, get that second shot in to kill them. And we're coming up on our second boss. We're obviously not going to bring in Gary for any more bosses in this game because they're all literally exactly the same. Save for the fact that they have a different head each time. Or it's the same one, like the witch doctor. He just keeps changing his head. And they take maybe 2 more shots. There we go. Love that. Hitting that in stride. And they might move a bit faster, but you're not going to die on these bosses if you follow Gary's very basic tutorial on them. Here we are. We're already 1/4 through the game. These are some of the hardest levels. This is sort of a preview of what 8-3, the hardest level in this game, looks like. Sort of the 6-2 of this game, if you want to think in Ninja Gaiden terms. Just the most difficult levels of the most difficult levels. Careful with those bats that kind of blend in with the background here. You'll find that the deeper you go in the game, the eggs, which are kind of hard to... just gonna jump over this one. The eggs that are harder to avoid turn into nasty eggs. Here we go. Just gonna hang out in this for a bit. Ride this up. Yeah, the nasty eggs with like an eggplant in them would be the worst thing. Depending on where you pick up an eggplant, you may still have a chance of survival. They don't take your health down all the way, or your hunger level all the way down completely. They give you a chance. They'll fly away when you have maybe 1 meter left. So if you can hurry, if you're moving very quickly and you find some fruit, you can still survive that. I guess that was a carrot there. So they do cycle in a few vegetables, but it's mostly fruit. A lot of bananas. A lot of apples. Pac-Man fruits, basically. These jumps, you want to make sure that you're jumping while the next platform is moving toward you, basically. It's not as important what your platform is doing. Sure, you'd like it to be moving toward the other one, but that jump to the next platform is a lot farther away if it's moving away from you, so let's keep that in mind. And this is the best preview of 8-3 right here. This isn't too bad. They give you time to catch up. But the final stretch in 8-3, that's the level, 8-3, where it's every single one of those platforms is dropping, and they're throwing in bats at the same time on top of that. So you need to avoid and or shoot the bats while simultaneously jumping, running at full speed. But anyway, I like these outdoor levels that are nice and open. There's no pits. It's very dangerous in this game. Everything's dangerous in this game when you one hit and you die. This is the one level where I will say, hey, go ahead, grab that skateboard, knock yourself out. Don't want to hang on to it for too long because there's that, animation or whatever you want to call it, of when you do get hit, you get flung forward, and a lot of times what you get hit on is right next to another obstacle, which will kill you if you hit it. So if you want to hit this a little, that's not advised. And there's one of the hidden trophies, which is just out of reach, unfortunately. But yeah, that's where they start hiding them. When they're really sneaky, they'll start hiding them on the fires themselves. So you have to know which fires to jump into, because otherwise fire is an instant death, unless it's one of those decoy ones. Never assume. There's not a whole lot of those decoy fires in this game. And the only time to hit one is if you want that trophy, which we don't care about points. We just want to survive. That said, 136,000. That's a respectable score at this point in the game. So we have another ocean level. It's the cave levels, the ocean levels, the other cave levels. I don't know what you want to call those. The ones with the blue backgrounds. I realize that just naming the hardest types of levels in this game, and I just went ahead and basically named 3/4 of the types, so it's just a hard game. I can't say it enough. Gotta be aware of the marlins that start jumping out in trickier spots here on these levels. Get another ring there. That's probably an eggplant. When it's one of those chests that's just, eggs, which is just too good to be true or just too easy, when you don't have to do any of the work to find it, that's when, that's when it's an eggplant. They're not going overboard with the marlins on this one. It's not too bad. There we go. It's an instance where you want to scroll on out, take your time. Same here. Don't worry about the trophy. These birds can be awfully annoying in the right circumstances, or the wrong circumstances, as the case may be. A lot of caves just kind of hanging out on these tiny islands. I'm not really sure the, geological geography behind it. Oh, and this just took us to a forest, right? Because this is the 4th level. Not always indicative of what you're going to find on the other side when you go into one of those cave-looking structures at the end of one of those ocean levels there. Again, not a difficult level if you have a weapon at this point in the game. I want to say 8-4, which is the final level after you beat the hardest level in 8-3. As we just full gear it underneath those frogs there. Yeah, 8-4, if you die. If you get into that level with a weapon, you have to be so careful. Hold on to it. Like life itself, just clutch to that thing. Make sure you're using it to kill everything in your path. Don't take any chances because, that level without a weapon in the start, it's a minefield of fires and spiders and just these tiny, tiny little windows where you have to thread the needle over and over again. But here we are in our 3rd boss. I'm gonna use the same tips from Gary. Eventually one of these platforms will drop out like right there. I think once we hit the 6th or 7th level, both platforms drop out, but it's not challenging. And the boss never comes all the way to the left as we hit another one. Nice. It's always exciting seeing the preview of the mask the witch doctor's going to have next time we go around facing them there at the end. Now we're back to what looks like the first level. It's just more juiced up with a lot more obstacles. Again, we've got our flame. We're powering through it. Especially with the fairy. As long as that fairy's on the screen, you still have protection, so just keep that in mind. And this is not a level where I want to, brush with death right there. Not a level where we want to go crazy with the skateboard, take any chances. You'll notice we just killed 2 birds that were right on top of each other there. The game, you'll notice, is getting increasingly sneaky, pulling out stuff like that on us. So that's why it's important to always be firing. Same thing with these boulders. Sometimes they'll, Alright, we need to slow this down a little bit. We're getting a little too cavalier here. Going against the 3rd Briggs note. But yeah, it's they'll be sneaky with kind of layering enemies on top of enemies, so you just fire the one shot thinking you're covered, but not the case. They're also getting sneakier with their placement of enemies, you'll see. There we go. 4-1 down. And let's just see what kind of level we have next. I might throw it to Fluff for our first Fluff fact about this game. I can't talk all day here. Just want to make sure this isn't too crazy level. Alright, so these mountain levels are generally where they like to put the eggplants. And I don't know if it's by design, I guess that's the idea, but there's not a lot of food in these mountain areas. I guess true to real life, they figure food is kind of scarce when you get into the mountains. So you do need to move with a slightly accelerated clip on these levels. Just keep firing, keep moving. Be aware of boulders, especially when you're moving up the mountain. But yeah, let's go to Fluff for our first Fluff fact on Adventure Island.
Adventure Island is based on an existing arcade game called Wonder Boy, from a developer at the time known as Escape. Hudson Soft licensed the game from Escape to put it on the NES, but because the rights of the characters and bosses were owned by Sega, the company which Escape created the game for, Hudson, couldn't do a direct port. Escape still owned the rights to the regular enemies as well as the basic concept of the game though, so Hudson switched around the concepts they didn't have the rights to, including some sprites, the music, items, and of course the name of the game itself to make it work.
Alright, thank you, Fluff. Yeah, I've never played Wonder Boy, but I'm just kind of curious considering they, use the same bones between the two games. I wonder if Wonder Boy is just as difficult as this game, or if maybe Hudson Soft kind of cranked it up a little bit. I wouldn't put it past them knowing what we know about Hudson Soft games, but on average. But anyway, as you get down to the lower parts of the mountain, you'll find the food starts to become more available. But yeah, when you're at the top, there's that stretch where it's a little bit harder to come by. Even without the eggplant on, I think, one of the later versions of that level, you'll find food very hard to come by. And you'll be on the lookout for some milk once you get past the midway point, as you'll be pretty much starving, even with most paces. But we'll get there. Alright, so now we have these cave levels, but they added ice to them. So we've kind of seen this before, but this is, these are tricky because the physics are a bit different. They love their ice in these games, don't they? Where you can't stop on a dime like you normally could. Higgins already moved kind of like garbage, so add some ice into the mix, and it gets that much harder. But with the weapon, a lot easier, as we can clear out some of the tricky obstacles that they put at the edge of some of these cliffs or on the other side. I'm playing again a little bit cavalier here. It's difficult to play this a little bit slower because on this level in particular, because they slow you down so much. It just takes so much time to get that speed up to transition between everything. So certainly one of the more difficult types of levels in this game. And then throwing some spiders, why not? Some frogs. See our hunger levels getting a little low here. And we're even maintaining a pretty decent speed, so oof, that's a tough jump right there. Alright, made it through. Haven't died yet. Probably shouldn't have said that, now that I think about it, but here we are. Almost halfway through the game with this 4-4. Yes, it does get harder the deeper you go, like pretty much any video game ever, so can't be too excited that we haven't lost a life yet, but still, it's promising, something to build on. The hardest parts still, they lie ahead of us. They don't go too crazy with the eggplants in my experience on these forest levels, but still, if you see an obvious trap, sometimes they put those springs out there, and the only way to speed it up here and the only spot to kind of safely land is on top of an egg, that's pretty much a good indication, as I will try to get this. There we go. For old time's sake, get the trophy. It's a good indication that there is an eggplant hidden there, when it's harder to avoid the egg than get it. Little pigs there. Ooh. Kind of sneaky placement for where that fairy drops off there. Right in the middle of some tricky obstacles. We got 6 extra lives right now. Looking good on those. We have our next boss here. Still should just be the one platform dropping out. Make sure you give yourself a nice lead from the first jump so that you can clear both of those platforms, at least in the later levels when they both drop out. So this one should take about 10 hits. There we go. There we go. We're 4 for 4, I think, on making that transition. It's the game within the game, you know, just little personal challenges we give ourselves to spice up a game which quite literally doesn't need any spicing up, but there you go. It is nice to see that point double right there, especially after we got some decent points to begin with. Another island level. We have the hardest one coming up. I think it's 7-1, something like that. Might be 8-1, I don't remember. But, get a key here. I'm usually so jumpy, I don't wait to see it. This might be the one right here. A lot of times I won't even risk it being the right platform, but that's the right one in this case. And we missed our spring. Oh well. It always drops you off at the same spot for, you know, interest purposes, in case you were curious about it. That might be an eggplant right there, actually. Anytime you're coming off of a spring and you see an egg, a lot of times they're putting an eggplant there. We have managed to miss them all so far. I might pick one up if I know there's a safer area coming up, but this being the back 9 of this game at this point, I don't know that there is a safer area. The green frogs don't come at you, by the way. You may have noticed that already yourself, but you can hit them and turn them brown. That just means they take 2 hits, but they don't jump at you. They're much more chill. Just like the blue squids right here, taking 2 hits. Something else I'm sure you gathered by now. So we're on Marlin Watch now. Get to the edge of the scrolling situations. Already here on the 4th marker. Plenty of Marlins here. Gotta be careful with these elevators. Sometimes they put an extra wide gap between them that you can't jump, so you have to get the pattern just right and jump at the right time. So I think we have another egg here. There we go. See if we can get to double-digit lives before we die here. Again, game within the game. Giving ourselves an extra challenge here. Here in 5-2. Green cave level. As long as there's no ice, I'm okay. This shouldn't be too bad. A lot of the difficulty from these cave levels stems from... Oof. Okay. Alright, we really do need to slow it up here. Not gonna mess with that. Yeah, I've gotten lucky at least a couple times here. Could easily be down 2 lives at this point. But a lot of the difficulty on these levels stems from just, kind of fires at the edges of pits, boulders rolling at you, rocks, things like that. Things that you can... A lot of obstacles you can just melt away with your flames. Another happy byproduct of not having lost a life yet. We're still rocking the same flames we got in 1-1. Just one of those runaway boulders. I think the only drawback about the flames is that is we got some tricky spacing sometimes here, is that they go right over the heads of the snails. So we got a frog here. Probably the best way to just gun it. Yeah. And again, the green ones aren't going to jump. You notice The bats, when they're moving up and down, when they're just beneath our platform, sometimes when they hit the kind of upper side of their flight trajectory, they can hit our feet and kill us, so you still want to make that jump even when it seems like maybe you can clear them. Here we are in 5-3 now. Yeah, these are the toughest levels, I'd say, because they always throw one of those quote-unquote fun pit stretches at the end here. That's almost certainly an eggplant. I think I've given up on getting one organically because I know we're going to accidentally pick one up by the end of this class to show you the downside. That's probably one. Just knock it in the pit. Don't mess with it. Space these frogs out. As long as you get close enough to make them make their first move, you're going to be in pretty much a good spot. Got some milk there. Or some mulk, if you will. Either way, it's working for us. Some more traditional milk, white milk. Oof. That's dangerous too. Just like the upside of their trajectory can hit you from below. Yeah, the low point, the nadir, if you will. It's tricky. So this is also a little preview of 8-3. Certainly I've talked a lot about it at this point. Here we just want to scroll out the enemies, let them come to us. I'm not trying to jump and make these attacks. That's what we need to do in 8-3. I've done that level many times, so I sort of know the spacing which we want to hit on. It's probably the most precise needle threading you need to do on all of the NES, so we'll show you how to do that once we get there, but don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So it's just like that, 8-3, except they add in the bats. We want to jump with as much speed at the very edge of that first one as possible to give ourselves a chance. If you jump too far back from any of those platforms, you either won't make the next platform or it'll start dropping the next one once you touch down and you won't be able to make the next platform. So here we are in 5-4 now. Still doing quite well. Again, on these forest levels, just want to take our time. Just clear everything out in front of us. Or in the case of some of those coyotes behind us. Double up our points here. That was a little too close for comfort there. Pretty sure they'll give us an eggplant with one of these springs here. That was also very dangerous. Let's just gun it here. And they kind of get off with the pattern. First they were adding a frog every level, and I think there were only 4 there. I guess this is the 5th. It's very dangerous when they're going to chase you, so if possible, you want to take them out before you pass them. It's ABF, always firing here. Remember the birds double up sometimes. Make sure you always have 2 shots for every bird and or boulder. What we got there? Another ring. Frog on a hill here. They're a bit trickier. Alright, that was... that was a little crazy. Alright. So I'm not sure if they're going to drop away the second one, but let's just give ourselves plenty of distance now. It's probably the next one. Alright. Tiger. Tiger kind of head. Cheetah, tiger, some kind of feline. And there we go. Keeping the string intact. Love it. Alright, 6-1. No joke. Just gets progressively harder. I'll give Hudson Soft that. Or, I guess the people who made, whoever was involved in the level design, they created a very nice difficulty curve. Very organic, very natural. But, yeah, they just keep turning up the heat the deeper we get. Didn't think it was possible to miss that many times. There we go. Yeah, we have at least one more ocean level after this. I want to say it's 7-2, something like that. They're putting in just enough of these squid-like guys, little octopuses, that stopping to kill them all, it's starting to become a liability for our hunger level. As that last Briggs note of, taking it slow, not always applicable in these later levels, unfortunately. Need to move with a bit more urgency. Is this going to be... Okay, I was thinking that was quite possibly our first eggplant. Still waiting on that. I'm sure it's going to appear at the absolute worst time. If I know Hudson Soft. I should mention also, these hidden eggs that you find, there's a difference between whether you blast them with your flames or your weapon, or if you just run into them. It's like they kind of punish you with a worse item if you shoot it. It's like they want you to have faith, but I don't know, not when an eggplant's involved. But anyway, how about another fluff fact with fluff?
In Japan, Adventure Island is known as Takahashi Meijin no Ukenjima, translating to Master Takahashi's Adventure Island. Hudson named the main character after Hudson's spokesperson at the time, Takahashi Meijin, though the name is as far as the connection goes, and there's no physical resemblance between the two.
Yeah, I figured Takahashi Meijin didn't look like a Hawaiian party animal who needs to eat every 3 seconds.
Yep. In the English version, he was simply named Master Higgins. Here, you can see the difference between the animations between the original Wonder Boy and Higgins as we know him.
Oh, there you go. That's interesting. Yeah, Higgins has the bigger gut, but, when you eat like he does. Or I guess Wonder Boy eats just as much, but Higgins, the difference, he's older. Metabolism's not what he used to be. Tends to slow down the older you get. Even for people who need to compulsively eat. Find hidden stages, which are just buffets. Fruit buffets, essentially. Fruit buffet sounds pretty good right about now, actually, now that I think about it. But anyway. If you drop back down. Normally these drop you around at 2. And let's see if we can't take a hit here. Oh my god. That was the absolute worst way to approach that. Do not get the skateboard. There's your PSA. One last time. At this point in the game, you must have a death wish if you're, there we go, 8 lives. Just in time for the ice portion of this cave area. This might be the hardest stretch of ice in this entire game. Not sure. It's always good to clear out those stalactites if you see them. There's another easy to find statue. It's been a while, or trophy, I should say. That is almost certainly an eggplant. We can avoid that one there, thanks to our flames. They're kind of tempting us to pick up one of those pieces of fruit there that were so close to those stalactites. By the way, easy way to remember stalactites, tight, T as in top, and then stalagmites, no T as in ground. But the stalag is in mites, so they're poorly gotten skateboard part there. Yeah, stalag. G is in ground, stalagmites, or stalactites. C is in ceiling. So 2 ways to remember that. There you go. It's not just video game tips here on this channel. By the way, one more time, just if you don't mind, hit that like button if you're enjoying the no-death run so far. I'd like to think that you can replicate this using our tips to this point in the game, but I've had a lot of luck, I have to admit. So this is probably the hardest mountain level. This might be the last mountain level in the game. Not sure, but there's going to be a stretch, I guess it's already started, where food is non-existent. So we need to definitely move with urgency here. Just keep firing. There's going to be, I don't know where it is exactly, but there is an eggplant coming up very shortly here, as if it wasn't enough to just starve us. naturally. They need to bring some sort of magical eggplant into the mix. That might have been it, I'm not sure. They're bringing the fruit back, so I'm going to assume that was it. Just trying to knock out some of these. We are dangerously low on health right now. Here we go, I'll take whatever I can get at this point. Eat it in Arby's. Alright, so this is probably one too. You can actually lip that right there. See, there's that inch you can stand on in the corner. Good way of getting our health back here. Not gonna fall for that. Alright, that's an eggplant. I know, not every one of these can possibly be an eggplant with the rate which I'm calling them out, but there we go. Clean. Very happy with that. Again, that would be 1,000 times more difficult if I had no weapon at all or if I had the stone axe. So that was 6-3, so I'm going to say there is one more mountain level waiting for us. The one that I'm thinking of. Always the iteration of the levels that I'm thinking of is like the last one because they're always the hardest, but yeah. You really appreciate these forest levels late in the game, which again, it sounds crazy. It's like the boss level, but it's sort of a chance for you to catch your breath. Run through a whole bunch of frogs. There's a green one. Just go under everything. You'll notice like they design a lot of these levels to be played a certain way. If you don't have a weapon, like that's sort of the intended way. They built it with a lot more difficulty. Like, this stretch would be a lot more difficult getting through if you didn't have a weapon. But if you have a weapon, you just kind of breeze through it a little bit faster. Kind of treat it like an early level from Sonic or something like that. So this is a little tricky spot. We want to clear out the frog if possible. Another good reason to always be firing right there. And is it going to drop? There it is. Yep. Who we got this time? Kind of a walrus-looking face. Again, no more difficult. Just takes a couple more shots. There it is. And there we go. Got some sort of eagle or some sort of bird face next time. Seven 1. Is this an ocean level? Nope. Yeah, that was definitely not the last ice level, obviously. Just losing track of levels. Got the odd fire they've set up here, having no effect on the ice. Nor is our flames we're firing here. I'm remembering the last ice level when we came kind of dangerously close to running out of, not gonna worry about what that is. When you have full health, there's no reason to stop for, a full belly. There's no reason to stop off. For anything. Can't imagine what life with Master Higgins is like for our girlfriend or wife or whoever she is. Alright, this might be our first eggplant. I'm going to try to clear it to the right. Ooh, okay. Well, that was definitely one. And then they have it set up with that 1-2 punch, where if you're not expecting the stalactite, that'll take you down if the eggplant hasn't. So now since we've avoided the eggplant, we can take our time a bit more here. I will take this milk. Almost certainly be dead. There just wasn't enough food here. I don't know that I would have found that milk in time. Had we picked up the eggplant. Very, very aware of how many times I'm saying eggplant now. Getting a little self-conscious about it. I almost want one to appear. It's going to feel like a release at this point, given how many times we've said it, but 7-2. Is this the ocean level? Alright, still not the final ocean level. I think 8-1 must be the final one, because I remember it starting off with a massive cliff. I've been grinding this game a lot as of late. You'd think I'd have a better memory. You notice, annoyingly, these frogs stop when you stop, so you can let it jump past you in that case once you have a good handle on it. Not falling for it. The E word. Let's just say the E word from now on. Any double birds? Not right there. Another hidden egg here. Almost positive there's not an instance of an eggplant in a hidden egg at any point in this game. By the way, I'm not sure why all these items are coming out of eggs. We didn't really talk about that. We just sort of accepted it as just the way things are. Yeah, turbo's pretty much useless in this game. You can't get rid of the full sprint when you're holding down the turbo. It's just a meat and potatoes kind of A and B type game right here. Nothing fancy. Again, how is it possible to miss this little octopus that many times? But it's worth it, especially when we have a pit that's about to drop out. Alright, so you see the space here. So we're going to have to hit this. Oof, could have done that better, but we survived, and this should be the end here. Nice. Alright, where is this cave sending us? To a literal cave this time? Seven 3. Yep. Colorless cave. All the grays, gray scales. Makes everything pop against it. They're just mixing in all kinds of obstacles at this point. Oof. Had to bolt through that last bird. Yeah, things you wouldn't expect to see in these locations are popping out. I think there's a, It's just so much a liability at this point in the game. I think there's some pigs walking around up here. Usually see them in the tropical climate. I guess that's only one level away, but, you know, kind of wonder, how'd y'all get mixed up here? How'd you get into this cave? I guess they're on their way to the island, which is back behind us. Again, more obstacles, which a lot easier to deal with if we can take them out ahead of time. Don't care about the trophy, it's a good way to die. The real trophy is beating this game. I don't care if you do it with 9 lives like we got right now, 0 lives after using 10 continues, however you gotta do it. It's a victory. Something to feel good about. Alright, what's the strategy here? Just clear it, there we go. Gotta keep in mind that that frog is gonna come at you once you get close enough, so we can use that to our advantage there and jumping from above. Oof. And food? A little dangerous right here. Alright, that's the end of the level. Alright. Might be a record for beating a level on as low a tank as we've ever had. Alright, one last forest level to catch our breath before the hardest 3 levels in the game, probably. Certainly 8-3. Yeah. Certainly talked enough about it. Like the E word. 8-3 and the E word. That's what it all comes down to. No double birds there. Yeah, I think if we had pushed that egg over there, we would have gotten some milk or something in that case. but the fact that we just ruined the surprise. Again, they're saying, just have faith. Have faith, it's going to be something good. No. I'd rather avoid surprises in this game, if at all possible. I'll just take the double points. Not even messing with springs at this point. It's probably an eggplant. Sorry, E-word. And you could see with these spiders how much more difficult it is if we didn't have a weapon. Sorry to just keep beating that drum, but just, you know, we're making this look easy today, but it's really not. This really is a 9 out of 10. When they have those two spiders right on top of each other, you have to navigate these tiny windows they create as one of them, you know, starts going up and down. And sometimes you need to go over it, sometimes you need to kind of needle right between the two, but it's always difficult. And yeah, I was waiting for that. Oh, and they got it. There we go. Talk about threading the needle. So we got an egg right here? Is that what we got? There we go. I think we got more than enough jewelry for Our Lady at this point. I guess as a way to, I don't know. You'd think rescuing her would be enough, but I guess it's also a way of just saying thanks for putting up with, got a haircut right there. Don't want to get too lax on these bosses. And can we get the, there we go. There's his final form. We got a little glimpse right there. 7 for 7 on that jump, but to finish a joke, getting her all these rings as just an apology for a thank you for putting up with us throughout all of our very strange eating disorder. Having to go to a buffet every probably couple hours. That's life with Higgins, basically. Maybe he just needs to pawn all these rings off to cover the costs of said buffets. But I'm sorry, back to it. This is the final mountain level. This is where food gets dangerously scarce at the top of this mountain here, as you'll see. In just a moment. Follows that same pattern once we get to the top. One more banana. And I think that's it once we hit that second signpost. And they got the frogs here to just slow us down at this point. So we need to move as quickly as possible without taking a hit. Everything just, again, designed to slow us down. Just clearing everything out. Here we go. Fine. Okay. Not what I needed right now. I think I just missed. Oh my god. Oh. That just saved our life. We were staring down death in just the lamest way possible. Starving because Higgins hadn't eaten in, I don't know, 10 seconds or something like that. Alright, so once again we're going to hit this lip here. Pretty sure that was another eggplant. Whew, very close to hitting the flames there. Slow play, we got plenty of health at this point. Just avoid that egg. Avoid all the... Oh no, the double shot! There's the eggplant! Okay, well this is 4, so we should be okay. They put this thing really late. Oh my god. And we get 5,000 whenever we beat the level with the eggplant. That was crazy. I just assumed if I ever did get the eggplant, it would be from jumping on it accidentally, not lazily firing 2 shots, but... Alright. This is it, the final ocean level here. Same rule applies, take your time, scroll out the marlins, kill everything in front of you. Just, move fast enough that, food is going to be an issue, just keep that in mind. And while we're dealing with this, let's go to Fluff for one last Fluff fact.
So I talked earlier about Hudson licensed the concept of the game from Escape. Hudson's version, Adventure Island, actually significantly outperformed the Sega Master System version of Wonder Boy and sold over 1 million copies. That did well enough to warrant sequels. but Escape had nothing to do with the subsequent Adventure Islands 2 and 3 on the Nintendo Entertainment System, which were exclusively Hudson-made properties. This probably accounts for the significant difference between the gameplay styles of this original Adventure Island and its sequels, which, if memory serves, are quite a bit easier than the original.
Maybe old man Hudson's conscience started to get to him, frustrating so many kids with the difficulties of those mid to late 80s platformers.
You might say old man Hudson got soft on those later titles. I think I'm gonna go out on that one, Professor.
You know what? I'll allow it. That was pretty good. Good work today, Fluff. Yeah, old man Hudson's kids were like, Dad, your grandchildren want to play your company's games, but they always break out into tears 4 minutes in. And old man Hudson's credit, he finally took it to heart. Don't ever tell me that people can't change, class. I might be proof of this right now, as I'm working on a no-hitter in this game, which historically has frustrated me to no end. We've had, I'm gonna say, a dump truck worth of luck here and there. I don't think I've ever been as lucky in a playthrough as I have been today. But it all goes out the window. All logic, all luck, everything. You gotta make your own luck in 8-3. And we're finally here. So I'm fully expecting to die here for the first time, and that's alright. This is where the markers are nice, so we'll get the checkpoint at the fourth one there. Actually, we have an eggplant early on, which I think I'm just going to grab. We haven't gotten a really good eggplant going on here. Alright, so just don't panic when you get an eggplant. Grab the food. It's not going to hang out forever. It's just going to take you down till you only have probably 3, 2, 1. And it still stabs you as you leave the screen. Alright, we cut it a little close here. I think we have enough fruit, though. Oh my god. Feed me! Alright, there we go. I bought us some breathing room right there. And there's a milk not too far from here. We'll replenish our hunger level. There we go. They don't even try hiding it from me. They're like, hey man, more power to you if you got this far. So there's this little section here. This isn't too crazy. Same thing. We want to scroll out the bats before we make a move. If we have that milk, we shouldn't be in a hurry at this point. Time isn't the enemy here. It's just some ridiculous platforming. There we go. Again, make sure it's coming toward you. They kind of space out the bats every 2 platforms at this point, give or take. You see, as it was moving away, that's where it got tricky. Alright. I give you one of the toughest stretches on the NES at the top of this, and they're doubling the boulders up there. That's just unnecessary, Hudson Soft, considering what we have going on here. Alright, take a breath. Alright, hit this high. Hit this high. This next one goes low. There you go. Get the shot off before you jump. Holy About to swear for the first time. I'm so happy. And we have a shot at the no death run now. That's where it would have gone off the rails, legitimately. But we actually, we might be able to pull this one out at this point. With 9 lives. Maybe we can get up to 400,000. Can we get one more life at that? I don't know. I've been paying attention to when we get the lives. But I mentioned earlier, this is the level where you don't want to get lazy or sloppy. You don't want to find yourself without a weapon. Particularly in this early stretch. Really anywhere, but we'll get some milk. I don't do you dirty with any more eggplants at this point, I'm pretty sure. Here's our Famicom controller. 3, 4, 5. Just to get a little trickier there. Let it jump over us at this point. So there is one difficult fire jump remaining here. Alright, never mind. So they do still have an eggplant. I forgot about that one, but easily sidestep that with our weapon at this point. Got another ring there. Didn't get an extra life at 400,000. That's okay. Alright, so they're going to put, I think, 4 fires up ahead here. One of them, if you step on it, is a trophy, actually. So it looks harder than it is, but I'm still going to try to thread this needle. You can't jump over these as it is. So okay. My goodness. Alright. Of course, both of them give out at this point, and it would just be the choke job to end all choke jobs if we let this guy kill us now. Just take our time, put him down. There's no final form or secondary form. There it goes. 8 for 8 on the jumps. And this time he just drops. And we've saved the lovely Tina. Trope or not, I don't care. I am very satisfied with this. This has been a something I never thought would happen. Didn't even bother putting it on the bucket list, finishing this game without dying. I know we're getting away from the class at this point. Try not to make these classes about me, but in this case, I'm very happy. Thank you so much to all my TAs today. And yeah, please subscribe if you haven't. We do one of these classes every single week. We'll see you next week in the same spot. See you soon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment on this video, and click subscribe if you haven't already, as this seriously helps me to keep making great content for you. And check the description of this video to see what song is playing right now.